welcome to Singapore Food Festival online masterclasses, and welcome back to those who are joining us once again for today. And thank you for connecting with us through WebEx and Facebook and Twitch. Thank you so much for being there. Do come in and ask your questions when we are, going ahead with the cooking and stuff like that. All right, so I'm looking forward to your questions. And now let me introduce our chef for this session. Yeah, she is Chef Cheryl from one of Singapore's most popular bakeries, Tarte by Cheryl Koh. Cheryl was named Asia's Best Pastry Chef in 2016 in the world's 50 Best Restaurants Awards. Well, Tarte is famous for tarts made with seasonal fruits actually. But today, Cheryl will be teaching us how to make a very special dessert, National Day Eclairs. This is going to be something really different, really interesting, and really delicious because I've tried it before. Let us welcome Chef Cheryl! Hello, Chef. Thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Very good. Very happy to be here. Very excited.
Yes, we are equally excited because we are so excited to know how to make eclairs. As you know, a lot of us will do a lot of baking at home. We make cupcakes, cakes, maybe even bread and stuff like that, brownies, but I don't think many of us actually tried eclairs because it seems very atas. It's very difficult to make, so we don't exactly make it, but I'm glad that you are here to show us. What are your thoughts on that? Is it really difficult to make eclairs?
I don't think so. And today I'll be showing everyone the patashu, which is the choux pastry, and it's a simple pastry dough, and it's quite a versatile and classic pastry dough that if you master or if you know how to make, makes you many different delicious pastries, including the eclairs.
So basically that's the base that we have to learn.
Yes, so today I'll show you how to make it, and then and that's one of the classic simple pastry doughs that everyone can make at home with ingredients that are easily found at home. And then today I'll make it by hand, so we don't need any fancy machines or equipment. and then show you some of how I make it differently, and then how to get a perfect eclair each time.
Cool, cool. So shall we get started?
Yes.
Yes. So what do we start with? I see many very interesting ingredients here lined up in front of us.
So I'll introduce the ingredients and the equipment that we need. So we'll need a saucepan for this, and then a mixing bowl. And then I have eggs.
All right.
I have all-purpose flour.
Okay.
Some salt, sugar, unsalted butter, milk, and water.
Okay, cool. So these are just basic ingredients, correct?
Yes.
It's
and
very
then
easily available.
Also, I will use three small equipment, a small whisk, hand whisk, and then a spatula. It can be a wooden spoon or something to stir, and then just a scraper to scrape the dough after that.
Okay.
So these are what we need today. So first, I'll start with then heating up the
saucepan, yeah?
Yes.
Or the water.
So the water goes in.
And how much of how many milliliters?
So this is 125 grams of water, half water, and then 125 grams of milk as well. Okay. You can do all water as well. I mix half with milk. This gives a nice rich flavor, improves the texture of the dough as well. So depending on what you want, I think some people might enjoy a lighter dough that then they can use just 250 grams of water. If not, this is 125 water, 125 milk.
According to their preference,
yes.
Right? So it doesn't matter what type of milk you use, correct? It can
I use a full cream milk each time. Okay. So I think it works just as well with skim milk.
Okay, so it doesn't matter which milk you use. Okay, that's cool.
This is 100 grams of butter. The butter, the same, it adds to the flavor and the texture of the pastry, gives it a nice, rich flavor to it.
Okay, okay. So
and then a little bit of sugar, 40 grams of sugar in, and then a bit of salt as well.
That's it.
So all this goes in.
All right, so if you're wondering where we can get this recipe, it's available online, guys. So if you have all these ingredients with you, I think you should try. If not, you can always try it another time. Refer back to the video or the recipe and do it at home.
So we're going to leave this to melt, leave the butter to melt. We don't want to boil it too fast.
Okay.
So we want it to boil it in a medium heat, that then the butter and the sugar has time to dissolve and melt into the mix. We're going to bring this to a boil.
All right, so do we need to continuously stir, or
I'm not going to stir it yet, so we'll just leave it to melt for now.
All right.
And then
will there be any difference if we do things a little differently? Like, if we don't let it be like that, if we start stirring, will it affect the end result or something?
Not really. So my tip for this is then that don't boil it too fast.
Okay.
So if you boil it too fast, then the butter and the sugar and the salt inside, they don't have enough time to then melt and dissolve completely.
Okay.
So just keep it at medium heat and then just let it slowly come to a boil.
Interesting.
So I'll
All
mix
right.
it now.
So for you, I know that you do, tarts really well, and of course your name suggests it's the restaurant, right? So why did you decide to do mini eclairs today? Why did you decide to show us that instead of tarts?
I think when I was asked to participate in the Singapore Food Festival, very exciting. So I thought that then besides tarts, I would then introduce something new as well, and with flavors that then is to the National Day or Singapore theme. So I came out with these mini eclairs. I think it's also very in line with tart. We specialize in tarts and also French pastries, so very in line with what we do at the shop and how I cook as a baker as well.
Okay.
So that I thought then that would be an interesting thing to do special for this Singapore Food Festival event.
Okay, so you mentioned that, I mean, the name suggests it's National Day Mini Eclairs, right? So what is the flavor that you have in there that makes it special?
Today we're making very classic flavors, loved by everyone, vanilla and chocolate.
Wow, yes, of course.
Yes, so vanilla and chocolate flavor. The vanilla bean comes from the orchid plant, so it's a nod to our national flower, the orchid. So I chose the vanilla. And then for the chocolate, I've paired it with red hibiscus glaze. I wanted to look for a natural and then locally found ingredient to color my eclairs, and in national colors, the red and white.
Oh, that's so interesting.
So
very thoughtful.
Yes, so I went in line with how I cook and the flavors that I enjoy, and then I think the flavors that many people enjoy as well, and then to a classic pastry that if you master it, I think it impresses. It's simple.
Really
I think
simple?
easy to make,
Okay.
and maybe difficult to master, easy to make, but then I think if you master it, then it's something that would impress.
I'm sure. So is this something that you created just for this, or do you have this available in your shop?
So we've been selling it since National Day. So since the National Day weekend, so we'll continue through this Singapore Food Festival period.
Oh, so it's limited time only?
Yes.
So
Guys,
we're going to do it's limited time.
But after today, you can make it at home. So
yes, sure. I'm definitely going to try it at home. All right, so we are looking at some questions here actually on Facebook. Serena Chan has asked, if using a gas stove, what is the level of the fire? Wow.
So I don't want to do it too high or too low. So maybe a medium fire, depending on the stove as well. If you think it starts to boil too quickly, like what I do now, when it starts to boil, then I turn it down a little bit.
Okay.
So then if you're using a gas stove, then just go for a medium and just let it. So we don't want it to boil for too slowly or too long with too much evaporation, but then not too fast as well.
All right, so we sort of need to play by ear, right? It's not exactly this is the number that you use.
Yeah, so a medium heat would be good.
Medium heat, yes. Okay.
So now, once it starts to boil, I bring it off the heat so it's to be bubbling. I bring it off the heat for a little bit, and I'm going to add in the flour all at once.
All at once.
All at once, and then I'm going to stir it quickly.
Why is that so? Why does it need to be quick?
So that there are no lumps. There are going to be no lumps, and that then it's going to incorporate fast, and that the dough will be a homogeneous, plain, consistent dough.
Okay. Is it important to sieve the flour before you put it in?
Yes, so if you're afraid of lumps or like pieces or foreign pieces in your flour, so I've sifted it in advance, and then to get it in. So then now you see that then it forms a dough, quite a soft dough. I continue stirring it for maybe 2 to 3 minutes to make sure that then there's enough evaporation that takes place and that all the flour is cooked through. So this part forms then the structure of the dough. After this, we're going to add the eggs, and the eggs adds the moisture and the flavor to the dough, and the eggs are also what helps then the dough to rise in the oven.
Okay, so we don't have to use any mixer or something like that?
No, so I can make it by hand. This recipe probably makes enough for 1 or 2 families worth of eclairs.
Oh, really?
So
that much?
So I think just a small recipe like this would be quite nice for then one dinner party at home.
Nice. Okay, chef, so you have all these ingredients with you, right? So is this easily available? Can we get it anywhere in Singapore?
Yes, so all these ingredients are quite, so the ingredients for the doughs are the butter, the sugar, the salt, and the eggs. I think these are very easily found in Singapore. The chocolate, the vanilla, I use a vanilla bean, but if you want to flavor vanilla, so they're vanilla essence, and I think now also in pastry shops and shops specializing in pastry ingredients, I think you can find the vanilla bean quite easily.
Okay.
The dry hibiscus, I think it's a very common Asian infusion tea that many people drink after meals as well. So I think it's an ingredient that's quite easily found here as well.
Ah, interesting. I've never seen anything like this before actually. Usually, I do a little bit of baking, of course, nothing near you, but it's just, you know, for the fun of it. So yeah, when I go to the shop, I usually see vanilla essence, vanilla extract and stuff like that.
I think you can explore in line with then doing, finding natural colors for coloring in food. Then for red color, it could be a strawberry, it could be raspberry. I think that does very well as well for in terms of substituting it with different colors if you, instead of using just the artificial
correct. That's a very good tip. You know, you can use natural coloring. You know,
Yeah.
if you want to red or some other colors instead of using your artificial coloring.
Okay, so after 2 to 3 minutes of cooking it, this is done.
All right.
So I'm going to pour it into the mixing bowl.
Cool. We have another question here. Christopher has asked, is the ambient temperature crucial in baking?
Is ambient temperature crucial in baking?
Yeah, so I think they're talking about the surrounding temperature, is it?
Okay, in terms of this recipe, so if we're talking about then whether the room has to be a certain temperature, then not really. I think we can make this even in a normal Singaporean household,
So it doesn't matter.
kitchen,
Okay,
with no air conditioning.
All
I
right.
think this pastry works just as well. It won't melt as fast. So right now I've cooked it, I've transferred it in, and I've continued to mix it to cool it down for a while.
Okay.
So I don't want to add in the eggs immediately so that then it's not too hot and the eggs don't cook.
Get cooked,
So
right?
if you add it in too fast, you'll see that then the egg whites get cooked and then you get white streaks on it. That's not ideal.
Okay,
So I cool it down.
like how long do you need to cool this down?
So I just mix it. This is a small recipe, so I mix it maybe for about a minute or two.
Oh, that's
just to
all.
cool it down.
Okay.
So that then it's not too hot, it's just warm. So I mixed it.
Yeah, what's good about this is I see that you're using very simple equipment to do and not
Yes.
exactly a mixer or anything like that.
Yes, so this could be a rice scoop, it could be a wooden spoon.
Yeah,
it could
correct.
be
As simple as that.
Yes. So I mixed it, and now we're going to add the eggs in to finish up the dough.
Cool. And we have another question by Christina.
Yes.
She's asking, should we be mixing the flour in over the heat?
Okay, so once the mixture boils, once the milk, water, and the butter boils, I remove it from the heat before adding in the flour. So I add it in, I stir it immediately. So once it comes together, I bring it back to the stove and I cook it on a low heat just to cook it through, just to have enough evaporation going on, not too long, that the dough is not too dry, and that then that the dough gets cooked and comes together.
Okay. So you got to do it part by part, part by part.
Yes. So once this is cooled for 2 to 3 minutes, I add in all the eggs.
How many eggs do you have in there?
Here I have 240 grams. So I weigh out my eggs, 240 grams of
okay.
eggs. So that's about five.
5 eggs,
Yeah.
okay. But it depends on the size of the egg as well, right?
Yes. So I stir it, I whisk it. So here it's a little bit of arm work, but I think it can replace a 10-minute gym session.
Correct, and we can also, you know, shift your hands. If you want to use your right for a while, okay, then go back to your left.
Yes.
Or you can get someone at home to come and do this for you if you're tired.
So this takes a little bit of work. I think when you first add the eggs in, it's quite lumpy and soft like this, as you can see. But so then we be patient with it and we get it together.
All right, so in terms of baking, right, is there a good place for home cooks to buy all the ingredients needed? Is there a place they can go to get
I think all this can be found in a regular supermarket nowadays.
Oh, that's easy,
Yeah, so
okay.
I think I've got most of all these ingredients from I've seen it in most of all the regular supermarkets. If not, I think there are a lot of neighborhood little shops that sell just pastry items that then you can buy all this.
Okay, so yeah, it's quite easy, I guess, to get some of it actually, and this as well.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so we have another question from Jean. Is it necessary to cube the butter before adding it?
No, but if you cube it into smaller pieces, it then dissolves faster.
Easier,
so
right?
you don't have the milk boiling and then the block of butter still in the middle.
Correct.
So if you just cut it up a little bit, then it helps to then quicken the process, and then the butter melts much faster.
All right, so guys, you can continue sending in your questions. I'm sure a lot of you have a lot of questions out there, so this is the best time to ask. Type it in. Chef Cheryl is here to answer all our questions, yeah? You can put it through your Facebook or Webex or anywhere you want to put your questions. Oh, wow.
Okay, so this is ready, and you can see quite a difference from just now. It's now quite a smooth and shiny dough.
A lot different.
Yes. So what you're looking for, a lot of times in many patashu recipes, they don't give you the exact amount of eggs. I weigh my eggs. I think it's quite consistent.
Okay.
Each time, then you want to use about the same amount. So depending on maybe the brand or the type of flour that you use, then maybe the amount of eggs, how much water, liquid that it absorbs might differ. But so I weigh my eggs, 240 grams in, I mix it, but what you're looking for is the consistency of the patashu as well.
Okay.
So you're looking for a consistency that looks like this.
Okay.
In French, it's called bec, B-E-C, which means beak. So it should look like a beak of a bird.
That's interesting.
So that's what you're looking for. That if the patashu gives you that texture, this is ready.
That's a good way to figure out whether it's correct or not.
Yeah.
And can I ask you, what happens if you put a little bit more egg or lesser? Does it affect the recipe?
So I think it affects the final product of it. If it's a little bit wetter, then you might get, it will still all puff up and rise, but I think if it's a little bit too wet, then maybe the shape will be a little bit flatter, not as high. If it's too dry, if you've cooked it for too long or added too little eggs, then I think it gives you quite a tough and dry pastry.
Well, now I understand when you say it's easy to do but difficult to master.
Yes, so...
Okay, we have another question. Eunice has asked, is it better to use a whisk or a spatula to combine the eggs with the dough?
I use a small whisk. So I think the whisk makes it easier and more consistent to mix the eggs in. You could use a spatula as well, but I think the whisk is the most effective.
Okay, so the whisk is the most effective, Eunice, remember that.
Yes.
All right, and Carol has asked, can we use an electric mixer instead of the balloon whisk? Electric mixer, do you think it's... if you want to use, is it okay?
Yes, if you want to use it, fine. The mixing in the egg process can be done in a standing mixer or electric mixer as well. I think that would be faster and less physical effort involved. But also today, then I'm showing you that with just your 2 hands and then a simple ingredient,
but there are chances, right, for us to overmix. Is there overmixing it?
Yes.
Yeah, with the mixer, I think the risk is
so with
there.
the mixer, by hand, I think the chance of overmixing is quite low. With the mixer, so you don't want to overmix it until the oil separates, that the butter comes out from the dough. So you want to stop just when it combines and becomes a nice paste like this.
Like a big...
Yes,
back. Oh, back. Yes. Back. The French.
Like a French beak.
Pronouncing. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, we have another, one more question. Can we use cold eggs? Will that change the texture? Yeah, that's a good question. Cold or is it room temperature?
I use room temperature eggs, but then I think cold eggs don't make a big difference. I think cooling down the dough it's one more important, and so making sure the dough is sufficiently cooled before adding the eggs. Then I think that's one of the parts to look out for.
Okay, cool. Okay, so what are we going to do next?
Okay, next we're going to then transfer the mix into a piping bag.
Okay.
With a piping tip. So I'm using a French piping tip. So it's a French star tip that has many ridges.
Okay.
If we don't have this, we can just use a plain tip or even no tip just to pipe the eclairs out.
Okay.
And then run it through with a fork. So the ridges then help the the eclairs to the dough to rise evenly and minimizes the cracks on the dough.
But even then, when you don't have it, you just said that we can do the normal way and then
you can score it with a fork.
So it's very easy actually to make this. Okay, so we have another question by Elizabeth. She's asking, can we use bread flour instead of plain flour?
Yes. So I think this is something that you could explore and experiment at home also to get the best results. So I use a stronger flour than a cake flour. And I would even suggest that if you want to mix half and half with a stronger flour, like a bread flour, it might work as well. I think the stronger flour helps you incorporate a little bit more eggs into the mixture, and then it brings you to the later part of the baking process where you want to bake the eclairs at a slightly lower temperature than what we would normally think we want to bake the eclair dough. And then the slightly lower temperature gives it an even rise, and then it prevents the crack on top so that you get a nice even surface to glaze the eclairs.
All right.
So yes, you can also use a bread flour or a mix of the plain flour and the bread flour.
The self-raising flour as well, right?
Yes, but in this case, no.
Not advisable.
So, the self-raising flour contains baking powder, so then not for this recipe.
Okay, so it's just best would be plain flour, right? And then followed by your bread flour if you need to use.
Yes. So I'll transfer it into the piping bag.
Okay, so now this is the part where you're supposed to be doing the artwork.
You can participate in this.
I can participate. Cool. I'd like to try.
Okay. So I've got all the dough in.
Wow, Cheryl, your fans are here. She says, I love you, Chef Cheryl. Mish Chung.
Love you too, Michelle.
Yes. She loves you too. All right. So it doesn't take very long to do this, right? What is the time frame?
I think if from start to finish of the dough, I think it might take you half an hour to make the dough. And then now we're doing it in real time. So this is 15 minutes, it's many minutes. And then I'm going to pipe it.
Okay.
And then I'll show you. So 2 ways to do this. So I'm going to tie this up at the back so it doesn't fall off.
Okay. What are the common mistakes or problems will we face when we actually make this choux pastry?
So probably not cooking the dough enough. So if the dough is not cooked enough and not enough evaporation takes place, then you'll see when you bake your choux puff, it doesn't rise and it's quite flat.
Okay.
And then incorporating the flour is an important factor as well, that then you want to be quick in your actions, that then take it off the heat, pour in the flour straight away, and then mix it. You can mix it off the heat directly so it doesn't stress you out that it's cooking and it's hot and then you're still mixing it. Then we mix it with the flour in all at once, and then we continue to then cook it for a little while longer, 2 to 3 minutes longer until it comes together and it doesn't stick to the pot.
So the mini details actually, I see that the mini details are so important for you to bring it out immediately, to do it quick and fast, and if there's a delay there, then it's going to be difficult, yeah?
So then that particular part of it, then you want to be quite precise and quick with your actions, that then if you delay, then the little bits of the flour gets cooked and then you'll get lumps of... So then that's not good. There
was once I tried baking and I wanted to do caramel, and I was following exactly the temperature and stuff like that. It was just a little bit high and the caramel was horrible. The taste was so bad.
I think from caramel to then burnt.
Yes, and it was just a little bit of difference. Then I was like, hey, it's just food temperature. And then I had to throw away the entire thing and redo. So then I realized the importance of following the exact temperature or the timing is very vital here.
And I think for this recipe itself, that then if you think your actions are not as precise or as quick, then just turn the fire down.
Correct, just the best way, guys. Turn it down.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so then I'm going to pipe this out. So I'll show you how I do it at our shop and how we make it here.
Sure.
That then we could do it traditionally and just pipe out the eclairs and bake it straight away as well.
Okay.
But another tip I do that then with this is then I freeze the dough. So I'll stick the baking
Oh,
parchment
wow.
paper on.
That's another interesting tip.
So I stick the parchment paper on with a little bit of dough.
Aha.
And I'm going to pipe long strips of the dough.
Okay.
We're going to freeze it, and then we're going to cut it at exactly 7 centimeters so that each eclair comes out
Correct.
exactly
That's what I
the
wanted
same.
to ask. Like, do we need to like measure that size or something like that?
So then I'll pipe the first one, you can go the second one. So
All right, so we have another question. Olivia is asking, where can she find the recipe? Okay, you can get it from singaporefoodfestival.sg. All the recipes are there, our website.
here.
Oh my God,
You're
it's my
next.
turn. Okay, cool. Just straight, huh?
Yes. So just go straight. Perfect. Keep
Mine's a
going.
bit crooked and fat.
And stop.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
So
Okay, so it's just a bit pregnant
yes,
in the
but
middle.
then we could use still
Okay.
delicious. So I pipe it down.
I'm so bad at
strips.
piping. And when I used to do like whatever I tried, right? And I don't know what I was thinking. I don't like have anything at the top, and then it usually comes out from the back. I realized, okay, you just put a knot,
you
that's
can.
easier.
Or you can clip it, or you can just tie it up with
And
a
it'll be
rubber
so
band.
messy, my hands and everywhere. It's like, oh, I don't even want to try that food after that.
Okay, so I pipe it into a strip like this on a baking tray,
Okay.
and then I'll put it in the freezer, and we'll freeze it for a few, probably 2 or 3 hours. We'll freeze it.
Okay.
And when it comes out, it would be a hardened piece of dough. And I measure exactly 7 centimeters, and then I
Okay.
cut it up.
That's where you do your measurement. Okay, cool, cool.
Leave
So
this
that's
here.
gonna go into the freezer, but don't worry, guys. We are not gonna wait for that 2 to 3 hours. We have something
we
that's
have
ready. Yeah. So that is going to go in there. So you need to plan your time accordingly. If you want it like for your evening function or party or something like that, just ensure that you start it early, like in the morning or something like that. That'll be good. Don't do it last minute.
So it would be something also that then you can make in advance, and then on the day of your party, then just take it out and bake it fresh.
Yeah.
So
that's good idea.
The dough. So this is the same dough that I made earlier.
Okay.
And I've just cut it up into exactly
7
7 centimeters.
Okay.
So that then each eclair is the same length
Size,
and the
yeah.
same size.
Nice.
So we've done this, and then this would go in the oven. So I bake this at between 170 and 180 degrees
Okay.
for about 25 to 30 minutes.
All right. That differs. That's based on the type of oven we use also, right? Is
Yes, so
Yeah.
I think the temperature would be about the same. Many traditionally also we think to bake the choux puff to be a higher temperature, but then for the eclairs, especially for then to get something, so what you want to get is then an even rise with no cracks on top.
Okay.
That then you can glaze your eclairs nicely. So
Aha,
that's one of the things you want to look out for. I think in freezing the dough helps you with that as well. I think the dough has time to rest, and then when I bake it from the freezer, so I bake it frozen, and so then the rise would be quite even and then smooth, giving you a nice surface to then work on.
Correct. If it's like up or it's not even, it's going to be difficult, right, to do
Yes.
your glazing on top.
So one of the tips and one of the ways that then I make the eclairs this way.
Cool. We have another question by Florence. What's the size of the piping nozzle?
I think it's a number. This is a number 8 on
8.
a French star tip.
Okay, it's number 8.
So depending on the size of the eclairs that you want to make as well,
There's
you
personal
could do
preference, right?
yes, you could
Yeah.
do bigger ones, you could do mini ones, and then for this mini eclair size, I think this is nice bite-sized snack
But
size.
do they have like bigger nozzles?
Yes, so they're bigger and they're smaller as well.
Okay, so they
you
do
can
have
use-
bigger than that. So if you want if you don't want to call it mini eclairs, then yeah, go
you
for
can
the
do
bigger one slice,
regular
no longer
eclairs.
mini. Okay.
So this, I'll put in the oven,
Cool.
and then
All right, and we have another question here. Christina, after you cut out the 7 cm strips, what do you do with the odds and ends? Can they be mixed together to make more eclairs, can they? Because they don't want to waste it.
yes. So I usually don't make more eclairs, but the dough, even after you defrost, I think you can use it, you can fry it, and you can make churros out of it, dip it in chocolate sauce. So
Oh
I
my
think that
God,
works very
that's
well
great.
as well.
Yeah,
Yes,
like
and that-
what you say is you can be using this for anything, right? Not just for eclairs. Yeah,
So
churros.
you could-
Fun.
You could do churros with it as well. So not just eclairs.
So now I know how churros are made.
So then after that, it comes out.
It looks like
after
that.
baking, it looks like
Okay.
that. So then evenly baked and then all the same size.
Okay, yes. They
So
look
now
really
we're going to fill, and then we're going to glaze, and then we're going to eat.
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
My favorite part. Okay, one more question. Mei Wong, baked immediately out from the freezer. Do you need to
Yes, I
immediately?
I do that. You can also leave it for a while, but I think it's okay to also then take it out from the freezer and bake it straight away. Just preheat your oven in advance, so when you take it out of the freezer, it's hot, you put it straight in.
Okay, I have a question about the preheating of oven. You know, sometimes when I bake myself, right? So I preheat, thinking that okay, if it's going to take 15 minutes to preheat, right? I'll think, okay, now by then my work will be done and I can put it straight in. Then I realize that I'm not ready. So what happens? It's okay.
Yes, so preheating is to
cooling off.
No. So preheating lets the oven heat up. So you want to keep the oven at that temperature.
So it's okay even if I put it after 5 minutes or 10 minutes?
Yeah, so the oven maintains, a regular oven should maintain at that temperature that you're set. So if you set it at 180, then it will set at that.
Okay. I always thought sometimes I'm very kiasu, right? Then I'll think, oh, now I must go and put extra 5 minutes because I'm so scared the temperature will go down or it won't be hot anymore.
I think the temperature goes down when you open the oven door. So that's one of the things you want to look out for when you bake the choux puff as well. So for the first 20 minutes at least, do not open the oven door. So so you only want to be opening the oven door when the crust has formed and it starts to color.
Okay.
So if not, when you open the door and the cold air goes in, the cream puffs will start to deflate.
Okay, so that's a very important tip because I have a very bad habit of checking all the time.
So this one you have to try and refrain and resist and not check.
Not open. At least for the first 20, is it?
Yes, for the first 20 minutes until you can see that it's starting to color and then that the crust has formed.
Interesting. Okay. So now are we going to fill it in?
Yes. So I'll show you how to fill. So I use a cone like this, but you could use also then just a small knife. And I make holes at the bottom. That's where I'm going to fill.
All right.
So
it's at the bottom here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to do that.
Okay.
For all the eclairs.
Okay, we have another question by Christina. On which rack of the oven do you bake the eclairs? Top, middle, or bottom?
I bake it in the middle oven. And even if you have 2 trays, I think it works just as well. Then just put them equally apart. Also that then the eclairs expand quite a bit in the oven. So you want to space them out.
Space it out accordingly so it doesn't stick to each other. Okay. So middle would be the best, Christina. Middle.
Okay. So I've made holes on each.
All right.
So I have 2 creams here today. I have vanilla pastry cream. The recipe's online.
That was made with it,
from the vanilla bean.
Okay.
And then also a chocolate pastry cream.
All right.
So it's with the plain pastry cream, one flavored with chocolate and one flavored with vanilla.
Okay. Smells good.
So,
your eclairs.
Show you how to put it in. So I've used just a small piping tip.
Any number for this?
This one is 4 millimeters.
4. Okay.
4 mm. So I pipe it in. So I pipe it in full. This fill. So
okay, let's show how it looks.
Okay. So I fill it in. It's full. You can try this. So I fill.
All right. Let's show them how it looks on the camera. Yep. That's how it looks, guys.
So fill it in. And make
So
sure it's full.
you will feel the thing puffing up, correct?
Yes. So if you can feel it, this one is empty.
Yes.
And then this one is quite heavy.
Is it difficult to? Looks like you need to use a lot of strength.
Not really, but I want to make sure that I get it everywhere and inside, so that every bite is a good bite.
Correct.
Yes.
Yesterday I tried making Biscoff brownies. And then I had this Biscoff spread at the top. And my friend was over and she was like, she said, okay, I want the middle part. I said, why? She said, no, because the sides they don't have. I'm like, they have one. She said, no, middle is more. See, they're so particular. So it's important to spread it out
so that
well.
every part of it has
yes,
the
correct.
same.
Every bite will be good.
So I've done half vanilla, half chocolate.
All right. That's interesting.
You can fill it with other flavors.
Uh-huh.
So I think a coffee eclair is also a very nice flavor, a very nice classic flavor as well. Coffee, chocolate,
Okay.
vanilla, and then any other creams.
So anything will go with eclairs? If you want to explore.
Why not? I think we've done lemon, we've done different flavors as well. So I just clean off the excess cream from the top.
Okay, we have another question by Joyce. Would this work with gluten-free flours? Any tip on using alternative flour?
I've not tried it with gluten-free, but I think if you buy a gluten-free and you wanted to do it gluten-free, then I think you can follow instructions on the gluten-free flour as well, on how to substitute. Might work as well. I've not tried it, personally not tried it before yet. So I think something to explore.
Something to explore. Yeah, you can try and let us know if it worked.
So I've cleaned off the excess.
Another question by Jean. Should the pastry rest and cool down before filling it? Yep. And if yes, how long?
The pastry should cool down completely.
Completely, okay.
Yes, so it should cool down completely, that it's no longer warm, so that then when the pastry cream goes in, then it should be cold.
Okay, all right. So we have to cool it down.
Yes.
Yeah. So patience, guys. I know when it's out, we just want to attack that food, but no, you gotta wait.
Okay, so then now I leave it in the chiller for a little bit, so that then the pastry is completely cold.
Okay.
So that when we glaze it, the glaze sets immediately.
So it has to be cold before you
Yes.
glaze. Okay.
So I keep it as cool as I can when I prepare the glaze. So
all right, that's interesting. So we have more questions coming in. You can send in more questions, and I have a question for you too. Yes. What is the most difficult part of this recipe, according to you?
So I think I chosen this recipe because I think it's an easy recipe. So I think if you weigh out the ingredients and you follow it, I think the ingredients are simple. The method to make it simple, I think you need to be precise. And I think if you follow how to make it and you respect each step and method to make it, then I think you can successfully get the eclairs each time.
Okay, and how long do we need to chill that?
So I chill it for maybe a few minutes, and then just as long as it's cooled down, and I'll prepare the glaze.
Okay, so this is the same vanilla paste, is it?
So this is, I'll put it in the microwave for a little bit to heat it up.
So in the microwave oven for about?
I'm just going for 10 seconds.
Just 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I made the glaze, and then, so we want the glaze in a good consistency. That then when we glaze it, that then the glaze stays on top of the eclairs. So I mix it, not too long.
It shouldn't be too lumpy as well, right?
So I mix it until it's quite smooth, so maybe another 10 seconds.
Okay, so probably another 10 seconds in there?
10 at a time to make sure it...
So it's good to check here and there. For this, it's okay, right? Not the oven, but for microwave, you can take it and check whether it's all right.
You can just warm it up in a hot water bath as well. That works as well.
Okay, okay. So that's another 10 seconds.
Yep. So,
and that will work. All right. So just now it was not as liquid form, but now it's a lot more.
Yes. So I mixed it.
And then we can show them the consistency as well.
Yep. So you want something that is quite
I bought. I'm so sorry. I spoiled your recipe.
It's okay. We have more than enough.
If I was at home, probably I would be like tasting it already. But to be decent, I can't do that.
So I have 2 glazes today. So this one I've infused with this one I've added vanilla to it.
Okay.
And then this one I've infused then the hibiscus.
All right. So that's the Singapore twist to it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is how it's going to, I'll bring this here.
That is the final
This is how it's going to look like.
end product.
So we're going to glaze it now.
Nice. You have some nice design in there.
Yes. So.
Yeah. All right. So Chef, I want to ask you, during the whole circuit breaker period, right? You started delivery, correct?
Yes.
How was that going?
So we are a pastry shop, so we have done delivery before, but nothing to this extent. And so I think this circuit breaker has taught us a lot. And also, so we had a team, our entire team coming in, and we quickly put in then systems and processes on how to order online, how to make the delivery and ordering much simpler for everyone because everyone was at home.
Correct.
So we had to then quickly find ways and have someone. We didn't have someone sitting in front of the computer taking down orders because we usually had customers just walk to our shop.
Correct.
So
yeah.
now we were faced with a situation where we had to then send our tarts.
I think your fans would have been really happy.
So that was a whole thing in itself, but I think we learned a lot from it, and that was a very useful period for us as well. So very challenging, but I think then now in terms of how to deliver, packaging, and then arranging the deliveries, I think we've learned a lot from that.
Okay, now here's the important question. Is that going to continue?
We're continuing it now. We're
Okay.
continuing now, and I think we're still doing it, and I think we've become. I think it's a new normal. And
Yes,
I think,
it's a new normal.
And I think people have been very understanding, even and open to then working or buying things in a new way.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, nowadays we're just at home ordering, can be anything, food, clothes, anything that you name.
everything.
Yeah.
So even I'm sure last week when I sent you the eclairs and the tarts,
Yes,
it showed up.
Correct, it was
at
just
home.
there. It was so
Yes.
nice, you know.
So-
like feeling very pampered.
Okay, so we'll glaze the eclairs now.
Cool. We have 2 more questions. Elizabeth, she's asking, what is the process of adding the cold cream to the chocolate cream? Is there any particular process?
What's the process of adding the cold
Sorry,
cream
not
to the-
process, purpose. What is the purpose of adding the cold cream to the chocolate cream? Is there a particular
Okay,
purpose
so
to that?
the chocolate cream, we're making it like a chocolate flavored whipping cream. So that's what you're thinking for the chocolate cream. So I'll make a chocolate ganache, which is then the heat up the cream and then pour it over the chocolate, and then we mix it into a nice chocolate paste. And then after that, do you want to think of this recipe process as then making chocolate flavored whipping cream?
Okay, so the idea is to have like the whipping cream but with a chocolate flavor. That's why
So
we're mixing it up.
the first part of the recipe where you heat up the cream, mix the chocolate flavor, and then the cold cream is then to mix in the cream to give you the final product.
And there's another interesting question there, Jacob. Is chef taking in apprentice? Are you?
And he
If you
puts there,
are, I'm the
haha.
first person to register myself.
So we constantly, we continually hire, and I think especially for my team and our restaurant and our shop, I think we welcome a lot of people students and young people who want to learn, and young and old who want to learn and to come. I think I'll welcome a lot more people who want to learn the trade, learn the craft, and have more people baking and cooking.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome. I think even students, they can, for internship and all that,
Yes.
they can apply. Yes, that'll be great.
So just
All right.
contact us, and then we'll see how.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, we've got the green light.
So
All right, now we're going to glaze that, right?
yes. So I glaze it,
Okay, how do
so
we
you
do
can
that?
texture. So
Just spoon.
I just dip.
Okay.
I dip, and I wipe the sides, and then
Wow,
just to come up.
nice.
And tissue.
I was wondering how that is done. Do we like use a brush or something, to go over? No, nothing. It's just,
No, I just
you
dip.
dip. Yeah.
Yes. So we dip.
Just dip it in. Aha. And then there's it's a bit of
And then-
technique there. Why do we need to wipe? Can't we just, wow, it looks nice.
So it cleans off the excess of
Okay.
the glaze.
Yes, which is why you need to wipe a little,
So I dip.
guys.
I clean.
Are you like for your shop and all that, right? Are you experimenting any particular flavor at the moment?
So we continue. We work with the seasons and whatever's available and whatever's in peak season. So that's what I do at the moment. So we've just coming into then in September and October, where it's the season of the figs, of grapes, So every season and every period of the year, I source and then look for then the seasonal ingredients that are available to use. It's a French pastry shop as well, so I source a lot of ingredients and fruits from France and from Europe as well. So coming up next, we have figs in season, very
Figs,
good.
okay.
The Soliès figs from France. And then we've also got some, I've also have some grapes and Korean melons. And it's also a season of nuts coming up in this period. So we've got a lot of caramel and nuts as well.
So that is a speciality, right? You don't have the same type of pastries throughout the year, but you actually have seasonal pastries.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
that's very interesting.
Yeah. So every 2 to 3 months, when the new products come in. Right now, it's the season of the peach, still stone fruit. So we just had apricots, cherries, and then the peaches as well.
It's like when you try first, and if you like it, you need to wait for the next season, right? Like, you know,
Yes,
it's
or
not
once a year. Or
it's not really available all the time.
Every year I send my best friend a tart. Her birthday is in September, and every year she gets a fig tart because that's the season.
Oh yes, that's
so
cool.
Then it's something that you look forward to year round, and then you eat the best of that period of time. So whatever is available at that time, I think that would be a good time to have it.
Correct. It's easy to make also, right? Because the ingredients are really available.
And it's at the best quality and at the best
correct,
time.
correct. Okay, we have another question. I noted that the recipe doesn't have the steps. For the cream, do we just pour all the ingredients listed and just whisk? Any particular order to put the ingredients of the cream? Jolene is asking that question.
Okay, Jolene. So if we're talking about the pastry cream, so the vanilla pastry cream that we make, so I'll run through the steps with you. Then you have to heat up the milk, and then in a mixing bowl separately, you whisk the egg yolks and the sugar together. And then after that, you add in the flour and the cornstarch, and you mix it together. And then after that, you're going to pour half of the heated milk into the egg yolk mixture, the whisked egg yolk mixture, and then you're going to whisk it well. And then we're going to return it to the saucepan, and we're going to cook it till it's thick and bubbling. So once it's thick and bubbling, we cook it for a further 3 to 4 minutes. And after that, we transfer it to a container or a bowl, and then you cool it down completely, and it's ready to use.
Okay, that's exactly what we just did, correct?
Yes.
So if you have any questions, you can always refer back to the video. All right, it'll be there, everything step by step. You can look at it. Okay, another question. We have any alternative to using hibiscus?
So alternatives to the hibiscus, I think the hibiscus in many in dry goods shop, it's a infusion. You could use. I've tried with rose tea, so that you can find in supermarkets that it has a rose tea that you can infuse as well. Raspberries work very well. You mash your raspberries up, and then you get the raspberry juice. Strawberries work as well. So different alternatives to the hibiscus. The hibiscus actually has also a slightly acidic berry kind of flavor to it. So I think it matches very well with the chocolate as well. So if you use a raspberry or another red color fruit, works as well. I think if in line with probably natural coloring, beetroot might work as well. So different ingredients.
So they can explore actually.
Yes.
You get the basics right. After that, you can explore with the flavors actually.
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice.
So I'll finish with this decoration.
Cool. So we're going to have some decoration that's coming in.
So I've kept my white chocolate ball.
Oh, white
So
chocolate.
this one makes the decoration. So this is just melted white chocolate that I've made into a paper cone.
Okay.
And then we'll pipe it on.
Nice. I think, can we like personalize this?
Sure.
We can.
Because I think the design, the colors, the flavors, for once you master how to make the butter choux, yes, the choux pastry, I think you could do many different pastries and flavors with it.
Correct. I think that's really cool. It's just that the choux is the basic that we need to master. After that, I think we can have fun.
I think in terms of the creams, the flavors, we could add different, it could be different combinations. I think the eclair is quite a classic pastry as well. I think it's so I think, popular and probably common, that it's not so common anymore. I think if you think back, or even that, then where and when was then the last good eclair that you've had? Or
Yes.
So I think it's one of these pastries that I've decided to make it now as well, because then it's something where it's such a popular and classic pastry that then probably not so easy to find nowadays.
Correct. And I've tried this before. When you sent it to me, it was really good. I brought it, it was just in time for my sister-in-law's birthday. So I brought it and people were there and they tried. And they were like, oh, word went around. They were like saying, hey, the eclair is good. The eclair is good. And everyone went to take it. Within a few minutes, you won't believe it, within a few minutes it was gone.
Yes, and because it's such a nice size to...
I just opened and I think less than 5 minutes, it was gone.
So then I use just white chocolate pearls. It could be, it could be anything.
Okay.
Any different designs.
Anything that you please.
Yes.
Okay, we have another question. For the vanilla and hibiscus glaze, should we use white chocolate compound?
Or couverture.
Or couverture, yeah.
Very advanced questions. I use white chocolate couverture. I don't work with chocolate compound, but it works as well. And I think just regular, I think even for the glaze, if you make it at home, even buying regular white chocolate and cooking and making it into the glaze works just as well.
Interesting. So I think this Day asked that question. I think they actually try baking at home, so they have all these questions that they have to ask. All right, that's interesting. So are we also going to do this for the other?
We'll do the vanilla as well.
Vanilla as well, yeah. So that we have more eclairs to try. Aha. So let me ask you, Chef, how do you usually get your inspiration for new flavors?
So I work with a lot of seasonal fruits and ingredients. So I work with the seasons and whatever's available at the moment. So each time I try to make then the best version of a certain dessert or a certain pastry. So I think I focus a lot on the quality of the ingredients, the quality of the products, and then also then in terms of pastry and baking, the skills and techniques that we need to then make the pastries. So at the shop, we bake it fresh. We make it by hand, and then we bake it fresh every day.
Nice.
So
yeah. I realized for National Day you have this, right? Do you explore something for other festive seasons as well? For example, Chinese New Year, Christmas, Hari Raya, or even Deepavali? Do you?
So different. I think different festivals and different periods of the year gives us opportunities to then explore different. Interesting once-off or just different ideas that we can try. So I think for Christmas we have quite a lineup of different pastries and cookies and log cakes and different tarts as well, seasonal tarts as well. Chinese New Year is a season for then, and it ties in a lot with the traditional foods and dishes that we eat during different festivals and periods. Also, I think it ties in with the seasons, because then during Chinese New Year, the mandarin orange or the kumquat is the citrus fruit is in season at that point in time. So I would do maybe a kumquat tart or mandarin. So something in line with the festival.
Those are like one-off specials, right? Just like how we have our National Day Eclairs.
Yes.
All right. We have another question by Christina. Does the glaze harden at room temperature, or should we chill the glazed eclairs to harden the glaze?
So I would chill like we did just now, I would chill the eclairs so that once the glaze comes on, it sets. Immediately. It holds quite well at cool room temperature, not really in the hot sun, but then it can be left out at room temperature and enjoyed in the cool temperature. If not, you can keep it in the fridge, but I would suggest taking it out for a while before eating it, so that then the cream and the glaze is in a nice texture.
That's interesting. Another comment by Joyce Tan. Wow, the glaze looks perfect with that emoticon with the heart-shaped eyes. Yeah. Yes, of course it does look perfect. That's great. So are we going to be trying, or are we going to continue doing it?
Would you like to try one already straight away?
Oh yes, of course. I thought you wanted me to try doing it, but I would love the tasting part more.
Okay. So here, you can try this.
Thank you.
So this is with the chocolate and then with the hibiscus.
I'm confused. There's some nice taste. I'm wondering where is it from.
So
I think the top, the a bit.
yes, it's a little bit acidic and
yes,
like
correct.
a berry kind of flavor.
So I think really good. Now I understand when you said that. When you use the pressure, right, for the cream inside,
you want to fill
it's
it
everywhere
completely.
Yeah.
Yes.
She only had 2 holes in there, but then it filled up entirely. So it's important. Oh, look at that! Look at the screen. It's so beautiful. So those people at home, they must be wanting to make this now. And what I love about this is that it's very easy. Of course, it's easy, but mastering it is another question. But we can always try.
Yes,
Practice makes perfect.
And I think whether it's and even if the shape doesn't come out exactly the first time or the second time, but I think the flavor and the taste would be just as good each time.
So did you? Let me ask you. Before you became a professional, right? Did you have to try a lot? Many times did you make mistakes and stuff like that?
I think we approach every new dish. I think it builds on the experience and the foundation of each time we make something new. So there's a lot of testing involved, and some things come easily and faster, and some other interesting ideas that sounds interesting when it's in your head and then not as easy, but I think getting it or mastering it or finally getting an interesting product, even for the hibiscus glaze, this is special. This was the first time we decided, okay, we'll do something.
And it's very nice, it's very unique.
Yes.
It's a very unique taste.
And so even to get the color or the texture that we wanted, we experimented quite a bit. We tried with rose, we got different things. We decided on I decided on a hibiscus because it was a local flower.
Correct, to be in line with National Day, right?
Yes, and then I thought that was a nice angle to it, and then also and you'll see that then just trying it, it has then this nice berry flavor to it.
Yes, it does. So will your family and friends actually give you suggestions? Say, hey, why don't you try this flavor and that flavor?
All the time. All the time.
I was wondering, do they tell you, because you're a professional and I'm sure whatever you make is going to be so good.
But I
so
think
they can just throw in ideas.
Yes, this year the circuit breaker period has also made many people home bakers as well. So I've also been getting a lot of pictures of people with their own bakes, and I think that's very exciting because it's become, and bakeries and pastry shops have become very exciting places to then see what's the new product or
so
then discover. It could be as simple as then a chocolate tart. That then one of our best sellers in our shop is and still is one of the first tarts we made is a dark chocolate tart with no sugar added, and that's been still very popular because it's similar to this. It's a simple pastry that we strive to do to make very well.
Interesting. That's interesting. Okay, so we have another question. Can I replace the inverted sugar and glucose syrup with honey?
Yes, you can. I think the inverted sugar and glucose syrup in the recipe helps to reduce the risk of then crystallizing or having lumps in the glaze. This is a question about the glaze. And then so then even if you don't have it and you just use sugar instead or honey, I think that works just as well.
Okay, so yes, Wan Yi, you can do a bit of replacement here and there. And we have Ellen Ang. He says, hi, Bharathi. Hello, Ellen. Hi, thanks for connecting with us. And we have another question from Jennifer. She's asking, where can I buy the hibiscus extract?
So I found the hibiscus. This one I ordered online since circuit breaker.
Okay, understandable.
So I ordered it online, but it's also found in many dry, it could be a Chinese medicine shop or dry goods shop. I think a lot of these kinds of shops, they sell teas and I've seen it at the supermarkets as well. You can buy tea bags that's hibiscus tea, and so this is similar to what I use.
So it's quite easy to get as well.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So thank you all of you for all the amazing questions, and Thank you so much, Chef Cheryl. I think
Pleasure.
it was amazing having you here, and I had a lot of burning questions that I needed to ask because, like you said, no home bakers, there are a lot of us there, and I'm one of them actually, trying something very small, and it's nice to get all these tips from you. Thank you so much for being here with us.
You can continue asking the questions.
Sure. Let me get your contact details and then I'll ask you in person. Okay, and thank you guys for joining us as well. And if you like this masterclass, do come and join in for more masterclasses. Sign up, get the ingredient box, and you can come to the show and ask us questions as well. You will get live answers as well, all right? So today we're going to have another session at 5:30 p.m, all right? And what are you going to learn? You're going to learn how to make patin fish, native edibles, and Sirana honey by Cosmo. All right, that's at 5:30 p.m. Remember to join us once again. See ya! Bye-bye!